1.02, and we are going to discuss the evolution of birds in flight.
So, did birds evolve from dinosaurs? There is much evidence in the fossil record that they are at least closely related, if not evolved, from dinosaurs, though there is much dispute among the scientific community on the topic. However, cladistic analysis has shown that modern birds are in fact specialized coelurosaurs, a subgroup of dinosaurs. This theory is supported by similar egg size, eggshell microstructure, and nesting patterns between birds and many coelurosaurs. It is important to note, however, the difference between cladistic and phylogenetics. While the branches of phylogenetic trees show evolutionary change through time, basic cladograms show the relationships between organisms based on shared characteristics, whether morphological, ecological, or genetic, and not necessarily evolution. This being said, cladistics can still provide meaningful evidence for the evolution of birds from dinosaurs. Probably most important is the discovery of feathered dinosaur fossils around the world. Fossils of Archaeopteryx, the world's oldest known bird, were found in Germany. Feathered fossils found in China, Spain, and elsewhere also provide concrete evidence that features formerly understood as strictly avian are now known among flightless non-avian coelurosaurs. Lastly, analyses of fossilized dinosaur feathers are found to be made up of beta-carotene, which is found in bird feathers, and not of alpha-carotene, which is found in reptile scales. This suggests that birds are more closely related to dinosaurs than they are to modern-day reptiles such as lizards, snakes, and crocodiles.
What are the functions and structures of feathers? Why can most birds fly? In most birds, feathers are used for flight, the regulation of body heat, and for attracting mates. Feathers are light, strong, and flexible, all of which are important for aerodynamic ability, because they must be strong enough to carry a heavy weight, but still be light enough to fly. Symmetric feathers are found in non-flying birds, while asymmetric feathers are found in flying birds. Feather formation most likely began with elongated scales as protofeathers. That led to the first cone-shaped hollow feather at the top of the picture on the right. This formation was followed by the branching off of ridges on the feather and eventually led to the creation of modern-day feathers. Flying birds have very thin skin, making them lighter and thus easier to lift off the ground during flight. Why did feathers originate? Some believe that feathers formed for thermoregulation, while others believe it was for the ability of flight. Reasons for thermoregulation theory. The first step in the formation of feathers most likely was the elongation of scales, which is a property of reptiles that live in warmer climates. Covering a larger surface area helps the creatures to reflect more sunlight. The next step in this process, the formation of feathers, would result in reflection of even more sunlight. Reasons for flight theory. Uneven layering of feathers. If feathers had formed for thermoregulation instead of for flight, they would cover even more of the body of the bird. Instead, bird feet have no feathers at all, and different parts of the body vary in the thickness of feather layers. The formation of feathers seems too complex to solve the simple problem of heat regulation. Also, other fixes would have been simpler and thus much more likely to have occurred. Those are just a few of the reasons behind the flight theory.
Flight is one of the most remarkable of all animal adaptations, yet it has evolved numerous times independently. In developmental biology, there are two evolutionary pathways which attempt to explain the origin of flight in birds: arboreal, or from the trees down, and cursorial, or from the ground up. In the arboreal theory, the ancestors of modern birds would have needed to move between trees at differing heights. Figure 3 shows the two theory pathways, arboreal in green and cursorial in brown. Debate on the arboreal theory focuses on a lack of evidence that the arboreal quadrupeds had the ability to climb. In cursorial theory, quadruped reptiles were ground-dwelling animals that used all their limbs to run at great speed. Eventually, these pre-avian reptiles would evolve to a biped lifestyle and use the ground as the source of thrust for flight. Curiously, all flying non-avian vertebrates are quadrupeds, and use all four limbs in their flight mechanism. This is clear evidence that avian flight developed unique from non-avians. Evidence from Archaeopteryx merits the cursorial theory in explaining modern bird flight through the development of limbs useful for flying and similar to modern birds. The presence of a fused clavicle, a singularly avian trait, and advanced hind limbs, proportioned for a cursorial lifestyle, reinforced Archaeopteryx as the closest living relative to modern birds and as an increasingly confident explanation of modern bird flight development.
In his article, Wing-Assisted Incline Running and the Evolution of Flight, Kenneth P. Dial explains how he explored wing-assisted incline running in birds, specifically partridges. Wing-assisted incline running is a method that birds preferentially use when attempting to get away from predators into places of elevation such as cliffs, trees, and boulders. While running up an incline, birds orient their wings towards the substrate they are running on in order to enhance traction. Dial tested the locomotor performance in birds with full feathered wings, trimmed wings, and plucked wings on inclines of various angles and textures. He also recorded birds as they ascended inclines from 45 to 90 degrees and used accelerometers to assess the direction of their wing forces. The results he obtained from testing locomotor performance revealed that birds with controlled, trimmed, and plucked feathers are all able to use their wings to run up inclines of at least 15 degrees. From assessing wing forces employed in wing-assisted incline running, Dial discovered that the wing form birds use while running up a vertical substrate is the same as the wing form birds use while flying. He also discovered that birds direct their center of gravity towards the substrate they are running on using their wings. These results provide a scenario for how ancient bipedal protobirds used their feathered forelimbs to run up inclines, leading into the evolution of wings that are aerodynamically capable of flying.